All right, we're gonna talk about deadlifts and bar facing burpees because we've got a whole lot of them in 22.2. The first movement is your deadlift, and this is a hip hinge movement. That means we are hinging at the hip. It's crucial that you maintain the integrity of your spine, because when we maintain that neutral spine position and there's no movement in the spine, it allows us to evenly distribute the forces that are being applied to our body. If at any point we round out or flex the spine, those forces are no longer going to be evenly distributed, and that's the person that's going to be like, man, my back is so wound up. So it's really important that in order to ensure that we maintain neutral and at no point round out or have some kind of hump in our back, we can keep that neutral position from the beginning, we lengthen out and mobilize our hamstrings. So I want you to get some mobility balls into your hamstrings, or do some moderate dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts just to get some loaded stretching happening to ensure that you've really got that length that will allow you to get into a good position with your spine being maintained in that really strong neutral position, okay? Then the next part is that when we are able to get that position with our back flat, without our knees being forward, we create room for an efficient bar path, okay? So if I'm tight through my hamstrings, I generally will have to set up lower in my deadlift. And when you see that low setup, you can see my knees push forward. So if I'm holding onto a barbell and I can't keep my bum up, at some point, I'm gonna have to move the bar around my knees. And you'll typically see that happen on the way down. So instead of having this straight path from point A to point B, I now make this arch on the way up and on the way down, and I just fucking waste time. I have to take my bar further than is necessary. So the hip hinge is important, having length of your hamstrings is important, and the reason is we're gonna keep the spine in a much better position that's safer for us generally and more efficient for us to lift load, but it also allows us to get the knee the fuck out of the way, okay? So I can move the bar in a straight line rather than going around an object, okay? So what we should see is fairly narrow stance. You do not need to be wide. You want a direct line of action to the floor. You can utilize a switch grip for this, especially if this is heavy. I encourage that. And from here, I'm gonna keep my knees back. I'm gonna have my back flat, that neutral position, and I'm gonna lift from there. Now, standards are important. You must reach the range of motion, which is knees extended, hips extended. So a way to think of this is push your thighs into the bar. Just do not get caught pushing your thighs into the bar without locking your knees out, okay? You must be there. So in other words, you should be squeezing your bum and you should be squeezing your quads. When you squeeze those two muscles, you extend the joints. Once we've done our last deadlift, we're going to drop the bar. Be mindful that you don't drop the bar and it bounces, okay? With the prescribed weight, you shouldn't see that happening anyway, but you just want to make sure that the bar is exactly where you want it to be. The burpees, you need to drop down and ensure your head is behind the bar, okay? From here, step up, bring your foot next to it, rotating as you jump over. Now, you might then need to bring that other foot in line with your first foot so that you're perpendicular to the bar. Ready to go for your next rep. So if you can be smooth here and avoid the step to the bar, step over, step to turn around, you're going to help decrease the time that it takes to do your burpees. What that doesn't mean is it doesn't mean rush the burpees. If you gas yourself on burpees, you're gonna pay a steep price. So find rhythm, find footwork that works and makes sense for you. You might have one extra step somewhere, you might turn around on the other side of the bar. It doesn't really matter what style of burpee that you do. What matters is that you are able to move continuously with that style of burpees for 10 minutes, okay? If you choose the fast, just like the fire breather burpee, and you're hopping and going straight down and there's no steps, that's great, but only if you can maintain it. If you do that style of burpee and it causes you to have to rest more, then is it worth it? So find something that's perhaps in the middle where you know that at any point in that 10 minutes, you will move and look the same. Because the winners of this workout are really going to be the people that avoid resting as much as possible and can just keep moving. So you've got to find the pace that allows you to do that, specifically on the burpees. The deadlift is a fairly straightforward movement. There's not a lot of adjusting, it's not a lot of moving around. One thing I would do is stay close to the barbell. Don't step away from the barbell, just stay at the barbell even when you're resting. But otherwise, the deadlift is like I gave you before. It's a few efficiency tips, but it's just pick it up off the ground and put it back down. The burpee, if you go too hard, you will burn yourself out. So pick the style of burpee that allows you to move for 10 minutes without stopping. If you can do that, you're gonna fucking crush this workout.